Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to take a minute and critically watch this video I'm going to share with you, because I want us to draw some political interpretations about this video script of Ruto running a PR script in Nyeri. It has emerged amidst another expose about the pain of people, or rather state officials, working with William Ruto.
So 45. So what are we going to do next? Mungependa tufanye namna gani ndio hii maneno iendelee ya maziwa?
Maziwa mwanzo ni kama vile ilikuwa unasema jana. Maziwa tutakabidhi kwanza
tusimamishe. Hiyo sasa tunamkwamisha. Mambo ya kuleta poda, maziwa kutoka hiyo tusimamishe. Ndio maziwa ile tunatumika hapa kwa hiyo ya kuambia hapo.
Kwa sababu sasa wakikuja hapa soko inakuwa hapa.
Yes, kidogo. So inakuwa inashindana maziwa ya mkulima na maziwa hii ya poda ya kutoka hiyo. So hiyo kwanza tusimamishe. Tuliona jana tulisimamisha wengine
kwa uwezo unao. Huo uwezo.
Alafu sasa katika kwa hii finance bill au watu wanapigia makelele. Tumesema tunaondoa ushuru kwa chakula ya ng'ombe. Ndio chakula ya ng'ombe kutokana na bei ya chini. Ndio tuongeze mapato ya wakulima. Ndio. Alafu wewe ungeona ni vipi ndio bei ya
Welcome to the bold analysis. Here, information is the power. So this is the official information center. Insider's account of the pain of serving President William Ruto's administration is the expose I want us to look at. That expose has emerged the day the video I've shared with you just emerged. In that video, President William Ruto is acting a scripted skit in MUKURWE-IN to market government interventions in the milk sector, and this comes at a very critical time. I want to call it a script, and let me just give you some few pointers there. Whenever the president is in the mountain, so everywhere he goes, he's there with the cameras. But that video has widely been shared by the UDA team and it is that one video that was captured using a phone. So it was very intentional for it to be captured that way raw, and they would want to purport perhaps that it's been captured by some pedestrian somewhere. You know, like it's just a video that have just been shared by a commoner. But that video was taken by official Statehouse staff. If you listen to it, the distance between where Ruto is and where the take of the video is a very short distance. So anywhere, you know, around William Ruto, it's some few meters from the where Ruto is standing. No one can be there by an accident, or rather by just default. No commoner is there. And it was very intentional. Number two, look at the guys that are standing there with the milk cans. It was taken by midday, around 1. So I really want to understand that by 1, even milking normally is done in the morning. So it was a choreographed video that William Ruto is using to explain. And if you follow the communication team that have been sharing, they've been talking about what William Ruto is saying there, about ban of importation of milk, and provision of milk coolers at every ward, at the ward level, for them to pull together, and reduction in reducing the tax in the tax of importation of animal feeds, and I think also the fertilizer. So that video was used simply to run what the ministry is doing. Can I make another pointer to you that agriculture CS, who the milk project falls under, is not part of that meeting. There are many other things that is going on, but the issue of the milk was picked for some specific reason. And before I get into the insiders leak on what the cabinet secretaries are saying, the milk was actually picked because, Uhuru met Seven the other day, and the government side had ran a smear campaign that Uhuru is negotiating for the lifting of the ban on importation of Brookside products. So that's a bit of what is being done there. But then, I want us to delve into this inside leak, and it has been confirmed by that video. Cabinet secretaries, after Ruto going out publicly to vilify some of them for underperformance and non-adherence with what exactly is in their ministries, have confided secretly in secret exclusive interviews with the Nation team about the hell at the ministry level. And in secret discussions, an article is in the Nation, they're saying that Ruto, President William Ruto, makes calls to some junior officers who are even instructed, are asked about what's happening at the ministries, and are even instructed to spy on their bosses. Now, this is a strategy that is akin to the Moi era rule, where, I've read articles about how Moi would call an area chief in the morning just to know whatever is happening at a region, and he could bypass the other ranks, the DC, PC, and even all the other ranks, and call a chief in the morning. Now, this is what is happening, that some of these junior officers, probably, they were even, when they were employed there, they were employed on some, on a close relationship with the president. And I don't want to doubt this, because during the discussion about the mosquito net scandal between MOH and some influential people, the CS Radiomaisha complained that some of her junior officers are receiving instructions from Statehouse or from other sources above her. So this has created some very stray egos, even at the ministry level. Now, they are saying this is the reason why even some cabinet secretary and principal secretaries are shy of appearing for media interviews for fear of being reprimanded. That you are not free to explain, even to appear in media, because immediately you walk out of that station, probably you'll be called and you'll be reprimanded. In a very clear terms, and this is in concurrence with one observation I have always made, and I've been saying in this podcast, that anything happening even at the ministry level, William Ruto, the messaging is on Ruto has done. No one is saying under the Ministry of Water, we have launched this water project. And sometimes you even wonder. In 20th century, William Ruto went to launch a water tap. President launching a water tap in the mountain. President launching a bus park in Nyeri town. Then if the president has launched a water tap, then honestly, with all due respect, then what will Waziri do? And I think myself, even before this video, I've been raising this question that if the president, as much as it's a very good, sometimes it has its own advantages of being hands-on, because you will always be in a position to know everything happening. But then, even if you're hands-on, but the moment you limit the individual ability, or rather the independent decision-making system at the ministry level, then you can't know it all. And clearly, the technocrats are complaining that while they are perceived or they are vilified in public as lazy, but the truth here is that they are not allowed to make their individual decisions, independent decisions. But then, in public, quite a number are vilified as lazy. Now, Kipruto Arap Kirwa, who was a former agricultural assistant minister, is saying that Ruto is putting state officials in perpetual fear of sacking. The moment you know that you are not safe, you are not trusted, you can receive a call from any time, then you can even be sacked by a phone call. And this is something that then has been happening. That is why it started with that video. That video is showing you clearly that Ruto has gone there to communicate the policy, and you may wonder as if the agriculture CS doesn't even know. You know, and in fact, from now we can take track of how many cabinet secretaries have appeared in media. You know, the whole thing about going to parliament is a hogwash. Because within parliament, when there was even another story by the Star, that there are some members of parliament that have been protecting cabinet secretaries from allegedly tough and hard questions. So they get some, you know, they get some individual benefits, or in bargain for deals in those ministries, they make sure they smoothen MPs so that they don't push Waziri to the core. So this is happening. But then I want to look at it differently, because there is something disturbing President William Ruto. But this will disturb him for long. That's what I regret, that it's going to disturb him for long. I mentioned here, William Ruto is suffering insecurity of tenure. And the insecurity of tenure is because of deficit of track record. What I normally discuss as insecurity of tenure here is that my tenure can end before even end at the first term. And this is because, according to the messaging in public, the way William Ruto speaks in public, he projects himself as the messiah of the country. But there are a lot of discussions, or even a lot of talks on things happening, but clearly on things that we are planning to do, that we have tried, that we are organizing. There is a lot of the sweet words, but the sweet words on top of the car do not match the actions on ground. That is what is disturbing him. I'm very clear. That is the problem. And that is why, while people see it as a hands-on type of leadership, but I choose to use the word restless. He's a bit restless and is insincere about this move. Now, the second problem he is facing is cronyism and favoritism at state appointment. That's what is haunting. And this will haunt him for long. That's why I said, regrettably, some of these things will haunt for long, because he is lacking trust on some of these people that he has appointed. Because majority of these fellows, not all of them are competent. You know, that's the truth. Not all of them are competent. There are those who are appointed in government under the altar of hustler, under the altar of cronyism, that you are a UDA chief campaigner, you know, that, so some of them are true, it's very true, that are incompetent. And he has also known very well, even at the point of appointing, he knew very well that so and so cannot deliver. But because of politics, I have to appoint them. So it's one of the problems. That's why he lacks trust because the competency level of these fellows is something that cannot match the threshold, or rather the requirement of the office. I also look at it and that while it is seen as hands-on leadership, but could William Ruto be dipping his fingers into the lucrative deals at the ministry? Why do you think some junior officers are called? You will understand. Sometime in 2014, this expose was widely shared that there were, in every procurement department, state institutions, there was someone who was a spy or was working for William Ruto. That I don't think has changed. Now that if that was he was a deputy president, now he's a president. It could be very easy that at the ministry level, everything that is doing, even at procurement, that he has his people. And it could be a strategy to dip his fingers into the coffers at the ministry level. Because that's where there is money, by the way. If there is any project, it's at the ministry level. The most of, in the Statehouse budget, is used for politics. And this is where you need repurposing. Probably you can agree with me. You know, just recently we were told about, he spoke about someone who used to work in a government ministry that could not be moved. We were told about a lady. How did he know? This is something that then has to be seen. And it is, and so that is why, when he was going to Mount Kenya, you know, Waziri can launch water tap, you know, Nikitu Waziri has a launch. Even roads, by the way, even roads, Waziri can launch. But the moment you have your junior officers, he knows very well, the junior officers will tip that, oh, this project is almost done, it's supposed to be launched, then Statehouse team in a panga. Then before you know, everything at the ministry level has been taken over. Then what is the role of Waziri? Lastly, I think William Ruto is insecure with some of his ministers and would not want the ministers to outclass him for political reasons. Yes, he would want to suppress these ministers so that some of these ministers, some of them are politicians. So they will be at his mercies. You know, when they are suppressed in the ground, that they don't have the ground, because the more ministers are going to work in the ground, the more they're getting visibility and their ratings are improving. Now, as their ratings improve, at some time when they will decide to leave cabinet to go and maybe join the politics, some of them will get the transition a bit easy. But this could also be part of a wider scheme to suppress the individual scorecard, even at the ministry, parastatals, or at the office they are holding. But I don't think it is right on this way, because the more people work under perpetual fear, I have worked in such environments some time back, and I'm telling you, you don't deliver. In fact, you cannot explore your full potential when your independent thinking is not embraced.